afternoon, welcome to Live at IFA. We're here in Berlin, it's 2013. We've got a whole load of products that we'd love to be able to show you. I'm Tony, this is Adam. Adam's going to be relaying all of the questions that you're putting into the box down there to me. I'm wearing this head cam, so let's carry on and see if we can't find some great questions to answer and some even better products to answer them with. Let's go.
Okay then, Tony, we've actually got a question come straight away from Mario D. What's a good camera for my 10-year-old son? Can you show me some?
Well, Mario, I'd like to think we've got a camera to suit everybody, but let's just make our way here through the hall. We can see the Era television lineup. For this session, we'll be essentially concentrating on imaging products. So if you do have any imaging questions, please come through to us. So I think the best thing to do is try and get hands-on. Now, if he's 10, and I assume he's a budding photographer, we'll really start with something that's a little bit point and shoot. So I'm going to head over here, and we're going to go for perhaps looking at a bridge camera with some really easy functions. So the camera that I've got my eye on at the moment would be this one. Now, this is the FZ200, and this features an amazing 60 times optical zoom. So, sorry, I'll start off with the FZ200. I'm just looking down the road for the FZ. You see the FZ?
Just over here, Tony, so... Just
over here, got it. Here we go. So this is the FZ72. This is a super zoom, it's a bridge camera. It might be slightly large initially for a 10-year-old's hands, but all the buttons are kind of in the right place. It's going to feel like a proper camera. We start with a 20mm wide angle. So if we just ask my colleague there to get out of the way, we start with a 20mm wide angle. Now, if I zoom in, you can see already that's gone, well, that's 10 times, but we can go all the way to 60 times. And once we try and focus that, there we go. You can see that the potential for taking pictures from faraway places. It really depends what type of photography your son is looking to do. One of the lovely features on here, if we have a look on top of the camera, you can see it's got this dial. And if we switch to IA, that's the intelligent auto mode. The intelligent auto mode picks out faces automatically. So there we go. We can just start to see some faces have appeared on the screen, and the camera will then automatically focus on those faces. It knows that when you're taking pictures of people, that the face is the most important thing. So now we take the shot, and those are the faces that we're going to get, and they're going to end up in focus. It will also pick the scenes for you. So if you're doing a close-up, so if we put my hand there in front of the screen, and then just do a quick focus, you can see that it's changed into the macro mode. So the camera's really doing a lot of the thinking for you. But when you're ready to move on, and you're ready to let your photography grow a little bit, try shooting in the aperture of the shutter priorities, which you can just access from the dial up here. And what you'll find with this is that at the wide angle we've got an f-stop of 2.8, so lovely, bright, wide open lens. And the further in we go, the sort of slightly smaller that aperture gets. But this allows you to really start controlling your photography, creating things like blurred backgrounds and the like. So really I like to think of these as a family camera, because let's face it, you're going to want to use it too. And that's a really great point to start. If something like that is a little bit too imposing, a little bit too large, we do have some brilliant sort of compacts in the range. And so just over, we've got a bit of cleaning going on. So just over here, we've got the XS1. Now, the XS1 is not as technologically advanced as the previous one that we've seen. But it does have a host of great features. So we're down to 1 bar on the battery here. I just hope it lasts. So your zoom is controlled on a little rocking lever here. and that'll let you get up to, I think, about 5 times closer to the action. And it's slim, it's beautifully slim, so it's going to fit in little pockets. And when we close that down again, you can see that it really is, virtually nothing. So it really depends on the sort of photography that your son wants to do, how he wants to take that forward, and what he's going to be using it for in the future. So perhaps something like a bridge camera, but quite possibly something like this slim compact. All of the great features that you find on the bridge camera, but slightly more manageable body, although a little less soon. So, hopefully that answers your question, Mario. What else have you got for me, Adam?
Okay, we've got a question from Ali M. I want to buy a new camcorder. Can you recommend me a Panasonic? Can you show me some?
Can I recommend you a Panasonic? Well, I certainly can. That's generally what I get paid to do. We'll start just over here and take a look at the V520. The V520 is a camera that's quite simple to use. It's got an 80 times optical zoom, so let's just see how far down the hall we can get. So there we go. Hello, madam. Nice to see you. You're live on the internet. Let's go a little bit further in. Hello, sir. Good to see you there. We can read all of that imagery on that screen. If I just pull out from there again, you can see just how far we've gone. That wasn't even at the front end of the range. So if long zooms, capturing wildlife, that sort of thing's your thing, we of course feature an optical image stabilizer, and I can just demonstrate that to you as well. So if I concentrate on the welcome to the 4K world, and I'm just going to get in on the first part of welcome there. What we can do now, so that, where's it gone? Where's he gone? There we go. And if I turn the optical image stabilizer off, you can see it gets very shaky, but turning that on, and you can see just how hard the camera is working on your behalf. So beautifully stable images, and that's something that's common right across the Panasonic range. It's incredible when you see these close up as to how hard they really do work. But if ultimate picture quality is your thing, let's move you on to something like the X10 here. Now, X10 features what we call a 3MOS system, and the 3MOS system is all about splitting the color and getting really high quality color definition out of your recordings. So it has a sensor for each of the primary colors, red, green and blue, and by separating those out you get great quality picture reproduction as well as superb low light performance. So if you're looking to take video in slightly darker conditions, perhaps something like this is for you. Or perhaps you're looking for something that's a little bit action orientated. So we can see over here, this is the A100 Action Cam, and it's actually the camera that I'm wearing to bring you this broadcast. And you can see here, this is the headset that I'm using. We've also got an armband and a helmet mount. We've got a suction cup mount. You can see the A100 looking really fetching there with its kind of sort of big afro haircut. And then over here, we've got the handlebar mount. So if you're putting it on a bike or something similar and recording your runs on various mountain courses, then that could be something for you. So we've also got these sort of trigger gun action cams, WA30 and the WA3. They'll go down to a deep depth, so 5 meters waterproof. And perhaps if you're a more action-orientated videographer, then something like this is going to do the job for you. Everything I've just shown you is equipped with Wi-Fi, so you're able to get your smartphone hooked up to it and shoot remotely. It's a fantastic thing. Hopefully that answers your questions and you've got some ideas going forward.
Right, we've just had a question come through from Ben A. I shoot mainly video. What is the best DSLR camera for me, and how does it compare to the competitors?
Well, I can tell you everything good that my camera does. So if you're into shooting video and that's really your thing, but you want to have an interchangeable lens camera to do it, I don't think you really need to go any further than the GH3. Not only is it one of the finest interchangeable lens cameras on the market, we really feel that it's actually the finest camera for video on the market, full stop. It can shoot at incredibly high quality. For instance, in the UK, the BBC have a minimum requirement for bitrate set at 50 megabytes per second for high definition filming. This camera, straight out of the box, with no modifications whatsoever, is capable of shooting at 72 megabytes a second. It's also capable of all of those effects that you'd be looking for in stills photography. You can actually achieve using manual modes inside the camera. So we've got all the regular exposure modes: program, aperture, shutter speed, and full manual control. But in video, so if you want to change the aperture whilst you're shooting, you've got a one-touch video button here, just next to the grip. But if you want to change the aperture as you're shooting, by all means, change the aperture. So there we go. I'm just moving around. Capture Adam there, waiting to ask me more questions. But really, this camera will do pretty much anything you want it to. Beautiful flip-out screen. It's actually weather sealed as well. You have to add either the 12-35 or the 35-100 lenses on it for the whole unit to be completely weather sealed. But take this out in all sorts of shocking weather conditions, and be rest assured that your equipment's being kept safe. The other great thing about this is that, well, I should just say, don't go dunking it in the bath. Don't take it for a swim. It's not designed to deal with that. But for light rain, then not a problem at all. One of the things that I really love about this product, though, is the sheer volume of controls that you've got. So if you want to access white balance, if you want to access ISO, if you want to access exposure compensation, it's all there. You want to choose your shooting mode. So do you want to choose single, burst shooting? Do you want to shoot a bracket? Do you want to shoot on a delayed timer? That's all there, and it's all very easy. I don't have to go hunting through menus for it. Do we want to focus just the once? So as we focus with every press of the shutter button, or do I want to manually focus? And if I want to manually focus, I just touch the focusing ring on the lens, and that gives me a close-up. So I can really make sure that I've got that crisp, fine focus before I start shooting, or even whilst I'm shooting. So really, if you're after, Ben, a top quality interchangeable lens camera that's going to shoot brilliant video, why not go for one of these? We've actually got on the wall just behind me, and I'll pop that camera down safely, and we can see some behind the scenes shooting using one of these cameras on a professional rig. So the camera, if you want to start out shooting very, very basic short videos, right the way up to shooting feature films. This camera is capable of doing it. We've got it attached here to a professional shooting rig with some extra glass on the front, and a couple of sort of filters, and this whole rig goes over the shoulder. It's slightly more than I've got over my ear, but it just shows the capability of the camera and the expansion that's available within it. So hopefully that answers your question. Adam, have you got anything else for me?
Yes, we've just had a question come from Vitor P. I'd like to know which is your best bridge camera now. At the moment, I own the FZ150.
Best bridge camera.
Best bridge camera.
Bridge camera. I'm going to take you back over to here, and I want to show you the FZ200. So Vitor, you've got the FZ150, and that's a great camera. But if you're looking at an upgrade, this is the one that you need to be looking at. And I'm just going to grab this off here and turn around and shoot down here so we can see what's going on. So this is the FZ200. This is all the great features we were talking about on the FZ72 before, but you've got a flip-out screen. You've got your electronic viewfinder just through here. What makes this camera special, and what makes it a significant upgrade to the FZ150 Vitor, is this f2.8 aperture lens. Now, the reason it's special is that f2.8 stays right through the zoom range. So, if we pop the camera into aperture mode, and we dial the aperture down to f2.8, with other cameras, as you zoom, you start to notice that you're letting less light in. Over here, we're still letting light in at f2.8. And this enables us to shoot at really high shutter speeds, the further up the range we go. It also allows us to have brilliant control over depth of field. And you can see just as I take that picture there, that the background starts to blur out. And that's possible down to having that wide open aperture, a combination of that wide open aperture, and then going a little bit further with the focal length to create those sort of beautiful effects. Now, for me, this camera covers almost every base, and if you're looking for a significant upgrade for that FZ150, this is the camera that will do it. So I hope that answers your question, and I hope it's piqued your interest, Peter.
Okay then, Tony, we've just had a question come through from David L. It says, can you tell me more about the HX A100 camcorder?
Well, the HX A100 camcorder, I've been wearing it for about 2 days now, and very comfortable it is too. So, the HX A100 is a stylish, wearable camcorder, and quite roughy tufty. You can take it to places that you wouldn't perhaps be able to take a regular camcorder due to the fact that you don't hold onto it with your hands. Now, the other side of it is that you'll notice from the examples that I'm showing you here is that it doesn't actually have a screen. So all you've got here is a lens barrel, and you've got a pack that does the recording. The batteries on it are built into the actual pack itself, so you have to recharge the unit. It's good for about an hour to an hour and a half's worth of shooting, depending on the quality of the video that you're going for. It's also possible to link it up with our app. Now, I'm going to go and find the app because it's something that's worth showing. You might be looking at this and thinking, well, how do I frame my shot? How do I know that it's taking good footage? Now, I know that my camera's taking good footage because someone's looking at it and they're telling me when it's not taking good footage. But by using this app, you can set up the camera how you wish. Now, this is attached to a G-series camera, but fundamentally the principles remain the same. Once we've framed our shot, and bear in mind that we can use sort of zoom functions and everything else. Now, there's no zoom built into the HX100. It's a fixed position camera, although you do have a kind of fisheye effect to choose from, or you've got a more standard shooting wide angle. But when you're prepared to shoot, all you need to do is press the record button, and that will start shooting your video for you. So really, there's nothing to be scared of, nothing to worry about, and well worth, I think, investing in if you've got a smartphone or a tablet to go alongside it. And you want to take those sort of roughy-tufty type shooting opportunities. So mount it on a bike, mount it on a helmet, or just mount it behind your ear like I've got it today.
Okay, another question from Matthew J. Can I see a demonstration of the newest features on the GX7?
Can you see a demonstration of the newest features on the GX7? We'll head over to the GX7 bar, actually. I'm fairly sure I'll be able to relieve them of one of their samples. So here's the Lumix GX7. Now, it's a really, really stunning camera. If you have a look at it, you'll notice that the one unusual thing for a rangefinder style camera is that it's got this viewfinder. Now, the viewfinder is a automatic switching viewfinder, so it's got a little sensor just next to it there. So when you lift it up to your eye, the screen goes off and the viewfinder starts up. Now, the clever thing with the viewfinder is that it tilts. So this really aids in sort of composition. If you want to shoot that way, or you want to shoot that way, just works very, very nicely. What I have to say is it's a really, really comfortable gripping camera. The shutter button's just up here, and we've got another dial around the top, as well as the usual dial around the back. But it just feels good in the hand. You know, as we sort of go through the range of control that you'd expect to find. you really find that it just feels wonderfully well constructed. So, what sort of features can you expect once you get into the menu system? Well, we've got an electronic shutter so that we can make the camera completely silent. Brilliant for street photography. We can do multiple exposures, time-lapse shooting. So, for instance, time-lapse shooting, I want to choose my shooting interval. I can do anything up to 99 minutes and 59 seconds apart. Image count, I can do anything up to nearly 10,000 images, and then just set the camera down. It will turn itself off or go to sleep in between images. So when it's built up, it will play it back as a video. High dynamic range shooting, also available in there. Highlight shadow, this is a really interesting feature. So this allows us, as we're shooting, to bring either more or less of the dynamic range of the camera out. So we can dull down highlights or sort of underexpose highlights if we wish to, or even overexpose them. And the same again with the shadow detail. So this will write itself on and really improves the dynamic range of the camera. It gives us a really nice ability to control that image, and you know, photographers will tell you that dynamic range is everything, and this allows us to bring the very best out of that out. If I switch into manually focusing mode and start to move the focusing ring, it gives us that close-up that we've seen before on other cameras. I can move that around, but what you might not have seen on other cameras is this glowing kind of look around it. Now I'm about to lose battery on here, so I better be fairly sharp. But you can see where the writing there has turned light blue, and that's called focus peaking, and that's available for use with lenses that perhaps don't have autofocus capabilities. So we know when that starts to glow that we then have the capability to take our picture, and the bit that was highlighted is going to be absolutely pin sharp. Other developments in terms of the GX7, we've got a new sensor inside, and I think the best way to show that off is actually show you some finished product. We've had two photographers go out and take some pictures for us. We've had Thomas Vorzak for Magnum Photos, and Ian Berry also with Magnum Photos. So we sent Ian to Rome, and Ian's taken some lovely shots. Now, the new sensor allows us for 10% more color saturation and a 25% noise reduction. And this shows in kind of shooting at high ISOs, some are up to 6400 now. It's really difficult to see noise in any of the images that we've seen so far that come back at that sort of high ISO rate. Now, we can now shoot incredibly low light situations but still retain that great quality. And I'm sure you'll agree that many of these pictures. I love this fella here with the tash and the glasses. If only I had the nerve. But as Ian quite rightly says in his description, I looked in the window of this hairdresser's shop, saw the barber with a magnificent moustache, not to be resisted. We're also showing off some of the fine picture quality over here on one of the new 4K WT600s. This is a professional photographer called Bernie Deschamps, and we've got a short video that Bernie made about the day in the life of a geisha, which is available on the Panasonic websites. But actually watching these pictures back in full 8K glory, I mean, the camera is 16 megapixel, the TV is 8 megapixel, but you're getting a much better idea of what the camera is actually capable of doing. And in terms of the features of the GX7, that's got to be my favorite.
Well, funnily enough, we've got another question about GX7 from Dominicos. Hi, can you show me the panoramic shot, how it works on the GX7?
Panoramic shot on the GX7. Now, the GX7 sample that I was using has actually looks like it's just about to run out of battery. And I'd hate to disappoint you once you've asked me the question. So it works in a very similar way on the G6. So I'm going to go and find the G6 and show you how it works on there, and hopefully you can add the two together. So find me a G6. Have you got a G6 around here? Is that a G6? That's what I'm after. Thank you very much indeed. Right, so this is the G6. The panorama mode you access through the dial on the top here, and it's just this logo here that looks like a sort of wide screen. So once we've taken that wide screen, you'll see that the camera gives you instructions. Let's find it again. So there we go. Pan the camera in the direction of the arrow whilst pressing the shutter. Okay, here we go. Panorama of IFA 2013 in Berlin. Here we go. And you just follow this all the way across, keeping your finger pressed down on the shutter. There we go. And that's now created my panorama. So if I press up to play that now, you should be able to see. There's the panorama, and all the stitching is done inside the camera. So ordinarily you'd have had to go away and you'd have had to put this into a computer and you'd have had to stitch it all together, and if some bits weren't working very well, you might have struggled a little bit. But with the camera doing all the work, I honestly can't see the join. Adam, can you see the join? He's not answering, he's not talking to me anymore.
No, it looks really good, Tony.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. So there's an example of how the panorama mode works. And whilst I didn't do it on a GX7, it works in the same way.
And lovely for landscapes as well. Okay, we've got a question from Lewis M here. What's new in underwater cameras for non-professional home entertainment?
Oh, that's quite specific. Let's go over and have a look at one of my recommended camcorders. No, I'll tell you what, let's go over here. Fairly sure, I'm not sure if that's the underwater one or not. So much going on here, so many people. Here we go. So this is the HX-WA30. This is a underwater camcorder, and done in the trigger style. So just turn him on. So waterproof down to 10 meters, 1.5 meters shockproof. So you can drop that. It's got an 18 times intelligent zoom. Now, an 18 times zoom is going to get you fairly close. So that's 10 times. You can get up to 18 by activating the intelligent zoom function in the menu system. We've got rechargeable batteries here, so if you want to carry extra batteries with you, just pop that one out and pop the new one in. Record or playback. Intelligent Auto is featured on all Panasonic systems, and the stabilization system. So full HD video recording, 16 megapixel stills, 10 meters waterproof, 1.5 meters shockproof. Don't go throwing it around, it's not what it's designed for. But it is roughy tufty. It will survive not only the beach, but also underwater as well.
And it's great for in the snow with the different temperatures as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've just had another question come through from Founder M. Do you have any examples of external microphones?
Examples of external microphones.
On a camera.
On a camera. Right, so over the other side with the G Series system. So something that the GH2 was very, very good at video. But for those of you who've used it, you would know that the inputs weren't as user-friendly as we would have liked them to be. So on the GH3, one of the things that we did was change round the system. So the headphone socket is now a 3.5mm jack. The microphone socket is now a 3.5mm jack. So you can see in there that's going to take a standard fitting, which is great news for everybody who doesn't need to go around finding adapters. But what we've got down here is the shotgun microphone, and its furry companion on the side there. So very easy to load into the GH3. It'll also give you a readout on the screen when you've got the microphone plugged in of exactly the sort of levels you're getting. So if you're you're faced with very sort of challenging conditions, you can actually change that input on the camera. So that's an example of a Lumix microphone. Other microphones are of course available. Mr. Webber.
Yes, absolutely. Another question we got from Mike G. Which compact cameras are the best for capturing HD video?
Compact cameras for HD video. They're all pretty good, to be honest. There came a time when you'd be looking at compact cameras and the sort of video was almost an afterthought. Whereas now it's a lot more satisfactory. I will always come back to my friend the TZ40. The TZ40 is a 20 times optical zoom with a Leica lens. You can see here that you've got a one-touch button just for your video. So when you want to start recording, you press the button. When you want to stop recording, guess what? You press the button again. But within this, we've got all sorts of features. And if we go into the video format here, this one's in German, and I'm not great in German, so I'm just going to have to rely on what I know. But this will actually shoot video 1920 by 1080 at 50 progressive frames a second. So broadcast television in the UK certainly shoots at 25 frames a second. So it's shooting at a very high frame rate and a good megabytes per second, which is just as important for getting that high quality footage. You can also shoot at 50 interlaced at 17 megabits. So if you want to create a bit more space on your card, 50 interlaced, 50p at 720 lines of resolution. And yeah, so lots of lovely options there for shooting video. One of the things I'm always asked about as well is, can I zoom whilst I'm shooting video? So let's just start a video up, and lo and behold, I can zoom while shooting. Whatever you do with this though, don't do it too quickly. Nobody likes to see that sort of shaky cam holiday footage, and if you are going to make a holiday movie, why not do the zoom, take the shot, stop the recording, and then come back out and then edit it all together afterwards so that you're not left feeling seasick. But as far as compact cameras go for video mode, that's my recommendation.
Well, of course, you've been spending a lot of time around here and it's certainly taken a lot of interest. We've got Dimitri K. What takes place on the stage where you're showing the cameras? What takes place on the stage? Well, there's a curtain, Dimitri. It's very mysterious. But what happens here is behind the curtain we have a climbing wall, and actually they have a nice little thing just up the top at the moment. Nice little schedule going on, talking about what they're showing off here on the stage today. Absolutely. So the bouldering performance from Julianne and Jonas has definitely been a highlight of IFA 2013, with people coming to see them from all across the show. But yes, so that's what's been going on the stage behind me. And I know Ian Berry's been doing talks as well about the photographs he's been taking. Ian Berry's been doing a number of talks, and one of the things with G-Series that people look at it and they say, well, the sensor's half the size of a full-frame sensor. How can a professional photographer use this camera in pursuit of his trade? And Ian Berry is a great ambassador for us because he actually uses these to do professional photography jobs with. Day in, day out on his day job, and he's still giving the great quality that he's been after. So, okay, right, we've got a question from Hugo H. Could you please show me some deck phones? Deck phones? Absolutely, deck phones. So, right, I know Panasonic have been doing a wide range of deck phones just recently. Of course, we have now started introducing additions to the range, allowing you to actually attach your smartphone to your own home network. So in other words, when you walk in from home, you'll be able to use your own personal smartphone to attach to your home line. So when the phone does ring, you don't have to go running around the house to try find it. And these have been beautifully designed at the design center again. So as you can see, a full range of deck phones here, some with the answering machine with them, some without, so all down to the individual needs. And of course the ones on the far right that Tony's just getting to are the brand new smartphones via deck. So that means that this actually has a front-facing camera allowing you to make video calls, and because it runs the Android ice cream sandwich platform, you can actually download apps and have fun on your home phone as well. So really just expanding the range to allow it to be tailored to the individual, but a really, really nice looking product. And as I say, allowing you on some of the models to actually use your own smartphone as an additional handset. So really, really saving the customer some money and not having to have extra phones lying all the way around the house. Actually, we've got some more questions coming through for you, Tony, from George L. I have a Panasonic HTC SD9, which has been bounced around the world and never missed a beat. Is the HXA100 as robust and of equal quality? Well, two very different. So remind me, what was the first product? It was the SD9. The SD9. So it's a very different type of camera. Of course, that being. The SD9 was the handheld. Yeah, nice little cute one. It had probably a bigger sensor in it. Yes. So the HA100 is a more
roughy tufty.
It's more of an adventure, adrenaline
sort of
junkies, isn't it?
cam,
Yeah.
But it's not about that same sort of optical quality that you'd have had from the SD9. It's more for reportage and capturing, sort of recording things.
Much easier to get into tight spaces as well, and of course keeping your hands free with the A100s just makes your life that much easier as well.
Good news on the SD9 though.
Absolutely, yeah, still going, absolutely. Well, we do build products to last. So, KTG, I have a competitor, DSLR, and I use it for video. What is the best product by Panasonic for this?
Okay, so you use a DSLR for video. Now, the thing with the DSLR is that it uses a lot of systems on board and has to get around the fact that it's got a mirror inside. So the mirror flips up and all of a sudden you find yourself struggling for autofocus, the sensor's not used to being on all the time, perhaps the camera's overheating, perhaps it's not going to capture the quality for as long as perhaps something like this. So we mentioned it at the top of the show. This is the GH3, and honestly, in my opinion, being somebody who uses these cameras on a day-to-day basis, it's the best interchangeable sort of classical design camera that we've ever done. But in terms of video, what you'll find with this is that it will go to 29 minutes and 59 seconds. Once it gets to 29 minutes and 59 seconds, it keeps on recording. It just creates a new file. So you're never going to get to the point with this camera where you're going to run out at just the wrong moment. If you want to expand this camera, you can get a battery pack that will add a further 540 shots to the system, as well as providing a grip for shooting in a portrait style. In terms of video, it will do bit rates of up to 72 megabytes a second. So 72 megabytes a second is good enough for broadcast high definition. It's not just the number of lines in your image that's going to determine the quality. It's got to be about how much information's been written to the card at the same time. It's incredibly quick to focus. It's got loads of buttons and loads of controls. If you want to keep it simple, it's still got intelligent auto. But if you want to find your inner creative videographer or photographer, this camera will help you to do so. So there's loads of reviews online as well, so don't just trust the man who's wearing the Panasonic shirt.
Well, of course, there's a couple of professionals back in the UK, like you mentioned, them being used for the film studios. They are actually using these more and more. And of course, with the Wi-Fi functionality, that's given them some really great remote video. Okay, so Colin K, can I use the Lumix GX7 with my non-branded tablet?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. As if it's an Android tablet, then absolutely. The image app that we see over here, and this is probably going to be the last question because we are running very, very close to the end of the show. But the tablet over here, which has now decided to turn itself off, runs on a Android system. So tablet I've got here. I'm just going to try and take this back home. What you want is the Panasonic image app. Start that up and connect it to your camera. Now, if your your tablet is equipped with NFC, all you have to do is bump the two together where the NFC point is on your tablet. If it doesn't, that's fine as well, because you just attach it by the same way that you connect to your router. So you enter a passcode that you'd find on the camera, and then you've got all this control that you've got over your camera. So the answer emphatically is yes.
Right, and the last question is from Scott M. He says, can I see the zoom on the FZ72?
Can you see the zoom on the FZ72? Yes, yes you can. Let's just make sure that nobody's using it and jump on it before anybody gets their hands on it. Very, very, very quickly. Let's just pop this on. Okay, so if you've got the screen in front of you there, this is at the wide angle, this is at 20mm. I'm going to head all the way into there, and look, there, I tell you what, who's that? It's like our question master. There he is, 60 times optical zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. There he is.
Yeah.
So, Adam, do you want to take us out?
Right, thank you very much for your time, guys. We really do appreciate it. As I say, keep your questions coming because we've got more shows tomorrow. And don't forget the Twitter feed, the hashtag Panasonic IFA Experts. Feel free to ask us any questions about any of the products, and we'll hopefully see you all and speak to you soon. Take care.